Sports Talk with Craig Ballard. Thank you for joining me. NFL Week 15 edition. We'll have some picks and some tidbits. We're going to get our week started with a look at the Detroit Lions traveling to Oakland, a game with absolute playoff implications. We know that. It's the line right now, the spread Detroit -2. We're going to get our week started looking for the Detroit Lions to come up with a big road victory at Oakland. We're going to start our week with Detroit -2. On the Oakland side of the football right now, this is a Raider team that these last couple weeks have been the Jokeland Raiders. They've been down 34-0, folks, in each of these last two games that they've played. I mean, wow. Talk about getting your ass kicked. That is, phenomenal numbers against them. It's a defense that's giving up 30-plus points on a regular basis for the Raiders. Now, on the offensive side of the ball for Oakland, sure, it does look like Denarius Moore will be back, and we know the big play capability that he brings to the table. But for me, the main cog here, the main piece that still remains to be out, Run DMC, Darren McFadden, completely different Oakland offense as far as I'm concerned, with Palmer, with Buller, with anybody, with Jason Campbell, with anybody back at quarterback. For me, the key, Darren McFadden, this is a guy that when he was the featured back, it was an Oakland offense that was racking up big play after big play, 20-plus yard play after 20-plus yard play. In the last about 100 plays that they've run, zero such plays have existed. It's a very stagnant offense right now. For me, you're taking a look at a Detroit defense that has played better on the road than at home. And Carson Palmer, one of Craig's keys in this game, is certainly going to be the matchup of Carson Palmer versus that Detroit sack machine that they've got going on right now. I mean, we know Ndamukong Suh is back this week. We know how good Cliff Avrill's been this year. We know how good of a veteran Kyle Van de Bosch is. It's a Detroit defense that gets after the quarterback. This week will be no different. That'll be an absolute key in this football game. I really do predict that we will see Kyle Bowler at some point in this game. I mean, either Palmer will be extremely ineffective, as we've seen these last 2 weeks, down 34-0 both weeks. I mean, wow. Or B, Detroit's going to knock him right out of the football game. This is a very stationary target right now for these Detroit pass rushers, and I think they're going to get after it, and we will see Kyle Bowler. That's my prediction in this football game. And certainly another Craig's key, of course, anytime you're talking about either one of these two football teams, penalties is going to be an issue. Penalties is going to be raised as a major factor. No team in the NFL has penalized more than the Oakland Raiders, and only a few penalized more than Detroit. They struggle with penalties as well. I'm going to look for this Detroit team to go into Oakland this weekend to get a big victory. That's where we're going to start our week. Let's move on. Take a look at the New York Jets, traveling to Philadelphia to take on the underwhelming and the disappointing Philadelphia Eagles. Spread right now, Philly -3. As underwhelming and disappointing as the Eagles have been in 2011, we are going to take the Philadelphia Eagles -3 in this football game. A few things to look at here. On the New York Jets side of the football, sure, I mean, you're going to say to me, Craig, these guys are hot right now, and you're absolutely right. It's 3 straight wins for the New York Jets. This is 12 straight trips to the red zone for this Jets offense that have produced touchdowns. I mean, that is phenomenal numbers. That is really getting it done, highest in decades for this Jet offense. Really impressive numbers. Mark Sanchez in this run right now, 7 touchdown passes versus just 1 interception. Sean Green has had several good games. There's no doubt about it. There are things to like for this Rex Ryan Jets team, absolutely. For me, I'm looking at the strength of schedule. I'm looking at the opponents. These numbers came against Buffalo, Washington, and Kansas City. Now, I'll be the first one to say that's not the Jets' fault. They can only play who's in front of them in the schedule, absolutely. But I still do believe, as we said before, underwhelming and disappointing as Philadelphia has been in 2011, I still believe that they're a better foe, a better opponent than anybody that the Jets have seen recently, have seen lately. This is going to be one of the rare games for Philadelphia where we hope to see Macklin, Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn Jackson, and Michael Vick all healthy, and Selleck all in the same game. I mean, that would be rare and nice to see for Philly. I think it could happen this weekend. This is a Jets defense, a Jets team overall, just 2-4 on the road this year. The Jets defense definitely has performed much poorer on the road than it has at home. And ultimately, even though we rhyme off all these numbers of how good the Jets offense has been lately, ultimately, it still ranks overall as a 25th, 26th ranked offense in the league. Very mediocre. I am going to take Michael Vick and of course, we know that the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to take them in this football game, so we know that we're going to be relying heavily on LaShawn McCoy. He's got to be a guy, he's got to be a Craig's key to get it done. He's got to be well north of 100 yards in this football game, and I am going to look for that from McCoy. And I mean 100 all-purpose yards. We'll see him on the ground, and we'll see him in the passing game, in particular on screens, and that. I look for a big game from LaShawn McCoy in this. I look for a Philadelphia performance that is going to definitely get us to -3. That's going to be our second pick. Here are a couple other games we're going to take a look at here that we have strong leans toward. Let's start with the Green Bay Packers and their quest to continue to play as phenomenally well as they've been playing lately. They will travel to Kansas City, who has been the exact opposite of good lately. We know that for Kansas City, Todd Haley is out, Romeo Crennel in the interim. One of the first things he did anyway was demote Tyler Palko from starting quarterback, all the way down to third string quarterback. Kyle Orton will start this week for Kansas City, assuming that his dislocated finger, his injured finger on his throwing hand, will be well enough to do that. If not, his backup will be Iowa rookie quarterback, Ricky Stanzi. So really, I mean, not a lot to like there. You look at that side and then look at the other side of the football. Who's the opposing quarterback? Well, how about Aaron Rodgers, folks? And chronicled many times here on Sports Talk with Craig Ballard. Aaron Rodgers in 2011, absolutely authoring a MVP season. He's been something else. He's been extremely impressive. He's had 13 straight, I think this will be 14 straight now, football games where he's thrown multiple touchdown passes. Phenomenal run that this guy is on right now, putting together a historic run right now. And he's been as good as it gets. For the absolute majority of offenses in the NFL, if you were to lose a wide receiver the caliber of a Greg Jennings, that would be an issue. For this Green Bay Packer offense now, for this fast-forward, pedal-to-the-metal offense, spread-it-out offense, not as big an issue. We know that Jennings will miss this game. He will not play this weekend, but that still leaves an absolute stable of pass catchers for Aaron Rodgers to play pitch and catch with. Jordy Nelson having a monster year. You've got James Jones. You've got Donald Driver. Jermichael Finley, an absolute stud. Rookie Randall Cobb. You get a lot of production from even guys like Kuhn and your backfield. All kinds of production, all kinds of offensive weaponry going on in Green Bay for Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers in that offense. You look at this Kansas City offense. This has been now 2 months since these Kansas City quarterbacks have thrown a touchdown. If you look at between Orton and Stanzi playing right now, well, as we've said, very, very different for Aaron Rodgers. The spread right now, 14.5. I've seen it at 14 and 13.5. I mean, me personally, I understand that is a lot to give on the road, absolutely. I just look at this game and I see a Green Bay offense that is rolling versus a Kansas City offense that is not. I mean, complete opposite. The average score, if you take a look at these two teams, just what they've been averaging this season for scoring, it'd be a 36-13 Green Bay victory. So sure, I hear you. I understand it's a lot of points to give. I'm strongly leaning towards Green Bay in that game. Another game we would look at here, Carolina at Houston. Spread right now, Houston -7. Another strong lean for me right now, the Carolina Panthers. This is a Houston defense and Houston team overall, but really the defense has been extremely impressive during the 7-game win streak that they're on right now. We know that they're in the playoffs for the first time in franchise history. Major big ups and congratulations to that fan base and to that organization, of course. For this week now, this is a Houston defense that will be without their leader, Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips having issues with his gallbladder. He will miss this game, possibly one more after this. And we know what a difference he has been to this defense. Reggie Herring will take over. He's the linebacker coach, the play calling duties. And Herring has been with Phillips for quite some time. He's certainly going to have an understanding of what the game plan and what the plan of attack and the in-game strategy is going to be. So I don't look for Houston's defense to take a major step backwards. A defense that during this 7-game win streak hasn't allowed an opponent to get to 20 points. So why like Carolina? What's there to like there? Well, let's look at this Carolina team. They led Hotlanta last week at the half, 23-7, and then all hell broke loose as far as they were concerned, a complete implosion. But that was a good first half of football for Ron Rivera's Carolina Panther defense, and the 2 weeks previous to that, they as well, in victories, held their opponents below 20 points. So this was a defense in Carolina that was starting to play to the level that top 5 offense was also playing right now in Carolina. You know me, I'm a fan of this Panthers team, in particular this offense going forward with offensive coordinator Rod Chudzinski. I think that we're looking at a strength versus strength here, top offense versus top defense. On the Texans' offensive side of the ball, we don't know the status of Andre Johnson. Definitely unclear right now, definitely unsure if he will play. But this Carolina offense, at the end of the day, there's just so much that I like about this offense and this vertical passing game they've got. Mix in the running game. I like a lot of potential there. This Houston Texans defense, remarkable run. We want to tip our hat to this franchise and this organization. Absolutely. We are going to take, or we're at the very least leaning, I'd say we're going to take the Carolina Panthers +7 this weekend. Last game that we'll look at here, Sports Talk with Craig Ballard, NFL Week 15. It's just a quick note. My favorite game of the year, the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Anytime the Dolphins head to Buffalo, that's my favorite football game of the year. It's the best one to get a win on, of course, to beat the hated rival Bills. But this is game right now where the spread is Miami -2, believe it or not, folks, especially when you consider where we came from at the beginning of the year. Miami at 0-7, the Bills at 5-1, 5-2. So to see where that's come now, to have Miami favored on the road is remarkable. For me, I mean, I couldn't bet this game with your money. I mean, you kidding me? This is my favorite game. I just want Miami to win this game. Craig's key in this football game absolutely is going to be Reggie Bush versus that poor Buffalo rush defense. This is a rush defense that is on the decline for the Bills, and Reggie Bush came into this season with one career 100-yard rushing game. He's got 3 this season, including back-to-back. So it's actually a hot Reggie Bush, a hot Miami running game. Me personally, I mean, I'm just going to say, just call it the way we see it. Man, I wouldn't trust Miami as a road favorite under any circumstances. We know Tony Sparano was out, and they'll have an interim scenario there as well. I don't think it's going to be rah-rah for the new guy or anything like that. I think that this is a Buffalo losing streak, a skid that is probably going to get halted. I can't trust taking Miami, my own team, on the road, folks. Sports Talk with Craig Ballard, NFL Week 15. There's some quick picks and tidbits for you. Definitely join me again. What we'll have coming up soon is our NBA preview. We're going to be taking a look at different videos, different previews for all 30 NBA teams, so definitely check us out for that, and we'll see you again soon.